Hi everyone. Today we're going to be learning about parallelograms, rhombuses, rectangles, and squares together intercombined with each other. Rather than learning about new shapes and new information, we're going to spend some time reviewing today. Rather than doing IXL, instead we're going to review this information and then give you a little bit of a participation quiz. If you do poorly on it, you are welcome to still get 100%. You'll just have to do a little bit of extra work to get the 100%. This can go very quickly today if you learn stuff, and if not, you'll have to come back and refer back to the video and look back at some of your IXL problems if you're struggling with stuff. But we're going to go to ExamLogin in a little bit to practice 11 problems on this information. Notice here on this page, the review stuff is on sides and diagonals, which are segments of these shapes, not angles. We'll deal with angles and 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 45 degrees, more in our reviewing tomorrow. So, what do you need to know about sides and diagonals of these different shapes? And the answer is, to start, first thing is that we've learned that opposite sides, the sides across from each other, in all of these shapes, we first learned it with parallelograms, but then also in rectangles, rhombuses, and squares, they have to be parallel, which makes sense. That's why we call it a parallelogram. And also congruent. So all you need to do is whenever you see these types of shapes is set the left side equal to the right or the top side equal to the bottom. If I ask you what the sides are parallel, again, it's the different sides. Left is parallel to the right. Top is parallel to the bottom. However, also additionally, with rhombuses and squares, there's an extra property. The extra property is that all the sides are congruent, which means you don't have to just set the top equal to the bottom or left equal to the right. It's any side is set equal to any other side. All right, similarly, diagonals, those little lines going through, segments going through the middle of your shapes from one corner to the opposite corner. In diagonals of a parallelogram in all of these shapes, the key word, and keep an eye on this keyword both for today's assignment as well as upcoming quizzes and tests, they bisect each other. What does bisect mean? Bisect means divides into two equal pieces. And we'll see it visually in a moment, and I'll write the word bisect on our second page of notes so you can see exactly where it is. Basically, every diagonal can be cut into two pieces, and that straight segment of two pieces, the first piece of the segment is equal to the second piece of the segment. Now careful, not all four pieces are the same in parallelograms. However, in rectangles and squares, the whole diagonals are congruent. And because the whole diagonals are congruent, all four pieces are congruent. Now notice everything here is about segments, whether it's sides or angles, and what that means is that notice also everything is congruent. Some extra words here. Parallel sides are congruent. Bisecting means congruent pieces, but everything here is congruent. So today's review is much easier than some of the other reviews. Whenever you see sides or diagonal pieces, anything with segments or diagonal pieces, you need to set things equal. Things get more complicated this with angles, but for sides and segments and diagonal pieces, everything is really that easy. So, what different types of things we have to do here? Well, one of the reasons we're reviewing is not just doing algebra problems over and over again, which you do need that practice, but looking at different ways things can be represented. And as you can see here on the first problem on the right, first problem here at the top, on the right, I have three different ways to represent it. The first thing is a segment with a little bar on top. Notice the little bar there. And a congruent sign. Notice the squiggle. What that means, when you see a tilde on top of the equal sign and the letters like this, is we need to talk about what other segment is congruent. So segment PA here on the left is equal to, not 7, because I'm not asking what number it's equal to. I have the symbol for congruent. Therefore, I need letters LR or letters RL. Either order is fine. Next, AR, that's this little side right up here. It's an equal sign. No squiggle, no tilde, no congruent symbol. That means I'm looking for a number answer, 24. Lastly, algebra, like we've been doing, might be the hardest of the three things, but just to be clear, 3w minus 8. Actually, excuse me a second and let me get rid of that extra mark. 3w minus 8. On the opposite side, it's equal to 7. And if we were doing IXL from the last few days, you'd solve out the algebra, but today is going to be simpler. Make sure you know which things get set equal to each other and be able to handle this in all the different representations, with letters like in blue, with numbers like in red, and with algebra problems like in green. All right, in this rhombus, we have a little bit more to it. What is x equal to? Is it equal to 9? Is it equal to 12? Is it equal to 34? I had told you earlier that I was going to remind you that in all these shapes, first learned in parallelograms, but then also in these other ones, diagonals bisect. What does this word bisect mean? This word bisect means that these two pieces, x and 12, are equal. Separately, that piece 9 is equal to that piece down there, also 9. Notice that not all 4 of the pieces are equal. Not in a rhombus, not in a parallelogram. However, like we learned on the last page there, all 4 pieces are the same in a rectangle or a square. So this piece y is equal to this piece here. That's not 19, careful. 19 degrees is in that corner of the angle. It's not a segment, has a degree symbol. Is also equal to this, is also equal to this. Y equals 13, and if it asked you to, the whole diagonal is 26. Lastly, it says this is a rectangle. Nope, that should be a square. Sorry about that. If this is a square, what's z equal to? Is it 90? No, that has to do with angles. Is it 45? No, that has to do with angles. Remember, in squares and rhombuses, not only are the opposite sides equal, but any of the sides are equal, so it's just 11. Not much else. If you've done the last 4 days of e-learning, if you've done all 4 IXL assignments and been successful with them, C's or higher, probably like A's or B's on most of them, maybe a C on one of them, today's assignment should be really easy. You're going to go back to Google Classroom and double check that you're going to be going to ExamLogin, typing in a code. You'll be doing 11 problems. You'll probably get 11 out of 11 and get 110%. Maybe you'll get 10 out of 11. That's going to go in the gradebook as 100. Maybe you'll get 9 out of 11. You get 90%. If for whatever reason you get worse than a 90% and you'd like to get points back, no problem. You will have to do some extra work. And just contact me tomorrow. It'll be going in tomorrow. Hopefully this will be a shorter day. And if you have anything to catch up on, this is a good day to catch up on things as well. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. And I will talk to you tomorrow.